When Monica James, a seasoned janitor with 30 years at Hartwell Industries, became the new CEO, the room fell silent. No one, including her arrogant boss Frederick, saw it coming. Employees began to expose the hidden toxicity within the company, and Monica's decisions shocked everyone. On an ordinary workday at Hartwell Industries, the rhythmic sounds of typing, phone calls, and muffled conversations filled the office. The vast windows let in bright sunlight that bounced off the glass dividers, making the room glow. Monica James, a woman with gray hair neatly tied into a bun, slowly moved through the hall with her mop and bucket. Her face showed signs of fatigue, but her hands worked with the practiced efficiency that left the floors gleaming like a mirror. After nearly 3 decades of service, she had perfected her routine to the point of automation, maintaining the workplace with the same dedication as on her first day. Monica was known for her kindness and willingness to help despite long hours and increasing joint pain over the years. Older colleagues respected her for her loyalty, but the newer wave of employees, including her supervisor Frederick Collins, viewed her with disdain. Frederick, a middle-aged man with perfectly coiffed dark hair and a condescending smile, had a knack for wielding power and instilling fear. His tailored suits and ever-present trail of expensive cologne contributed to the tension that marked his presence. That day, the hall was especially busy. Employees passed by discussing meetings and deals. Some snacked near the coffee machine, while receptionists shuffled papers at the front desk. Monica worked, bent over a persistent stain, when Frederick's sharp voice pierced the air. His footsteps approached, and the ambient noise fell away. Everyone knew his presence meant trouble. "Hey, you! Can you make it cleaner? We're not in the backwoods." Frederick's harsh words echoed above Monica's head. His eyes were cold, and a sneer twisted his lips. Some employees froze, and one even let out a short laugh to back up the boss's so-called joke. The loud chuckle reverberated through the hall, intensifying Monica's humiliation. Monica paused for a moment, avoiding his gaze. She felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment, but gritted her teeth and returned to her task, slowly straightening her back. Deep inside, it felt as if a needle had pierced her heart, but her eyes remained dry. She couldn't afford to show weakness after all these years. Her mother's words rang in her head. "Never let anyone break you, daughter. Your strength is in your patience and dignity." Frederick Collins, accustomed to his own sense of superiority, continued to hurl sarcastic remarks at Monica. He found satisfaction in emphasizing her age and position, marking her as a relic who should have long since retired. Each comment came with a sneer or a smirk, creating an environment that left Monica feeling isolated and demeaned. But this time, he didn't realize that Alex Maxwell was watching. Alex Maxwell, a man with sharp features and an unyielding gaze that softened only when justice was involved, had once worked alongside Monica. He knew her as a woman with iron will and a kind heart. His support had helped her through tough times, and now he saw that a change was needed. Years away from the company had made him wiser, and he now sat on the board of directors, ready to usher in serious reforms. The day of the new CEO's official introduction arrived. The meeting room was grand, with high ceilings and tall windows that let in daylight, glistening on the polished parquet floor. Employees, dressed in formal business attire, filled the room, waiting for the event to start. The buzz of conversations and whispers didn't stop until the host stepped onto the stage and tapped the microphone for silence. Frederick sat confidently in the front row, legs crossed, surveying the room with a smug smile. He felt secure in his position, expecting to be favored by the new administration. But when the host announced, "Please welcome the new CEO of our company, Ms. Monica James," his expression shifted. Eyebrows shot up in disbelief as confusion swept over him. A hush settled over the room, interrupted only by the rustle of suddenly still papers and a stifled cough. Monica, in a formal dark blue business suit, walked to the stage with her head held high. Her gaze was calm and focused, reflecting the strength accumulated through years of struggle and perseverance. There was a resolve in her eyes that few expected. Frederick felt a chill run down his spine. He sat glued to his seat, trying to process what was happening. Everything he thought he knew about the company, its structure, and its hierarchy now seemed unstable. Monica stepped onto the stage and looked out over the crowd, their eyes meeting in a silent exchange. The look of a woman who had been humiliated but not broken, and a man who had always felt untouchable. Standing on the stage, Monica gathered her composure and looked out at the room, which waited with bated breath for her words. The spacious room, with its tall windows letting in daylight, was charged with tension. The employees' eyes were locked on their unexpected new leader, especially Frederick's. His face was pale, and his lips were pressed into a thin line. He tried to appear indifferent, but Monica's gaze cut through him. "Dear colleagues," Monica began, her voice steady and clear. "For too long, our company has been a symbol of success and professionalism, but beneath that surface lay a darker side, one of disrespect and disregard for human dignity. Today, I stand before you to announce a new chapter, one rooted in respect, fairness, and equality for all employees, regardless of their rank." Her eyes lingered on Frederick for a moment. He averted his gaze, feeling the heat rise to his cheeks. Monica continued, "We cannot move forward without acknowledging our mistakes and striving for change. From today, every employee will know their work is valued, and everyone will work in an environment of mutual respect." Murmurs of approval rippled through the room, and a few employees nodded, exchanging glances. The atmosphere shifted as if a fresh breeze had swept through, dispelling old habits and prejudices. The next day, changes began with unprecedented speed. Monica met personally with department heads, explaining that any misconduct would be addressed swiftly and decisively. Employees felt the shift, communication became more open, and a spark of hope emerged. Frederick, once assured of his dominance, now found himself at a loss. His former confidence gave way to anxiety. Trying to justify himself, he approached Monica's office. His face was tense, and his voice held a hint of desperation. "Monica," he began, attempting a calm demeanor, "I think we can talk this over. I'd like to explain." But Monica was unyielding. Her gaze was cold and discerning. "Frederick," she replied, folding her hands before her, "it's not explanations that matter now. It's actions. I will make sure everyone, including you, understands that respect and dignity are no longer just empty words in our company." Frederick felt his heart constrict. His once unshakable career now hung by a thread. For the first time, he realized he wouldn't survive the new era without change. A new era led by the woman he had underestimated for so long. Frederick entered the boardroom, where the members of the board awaited. The room, lined with dark wooden tables and comfortable chairs, was heavy with tension. Seated at the long table was Alex Maxwell, his eyes resolute. He knew this meeting could be a turning point for the company. The rest of the board members watched Frederick's every move, anticipating the discussion to come. "Gentlemen, let's get down to business," the chairman began, tapping his fingers on a folder of complaints. "Today, we address serious allegations of misconduct." Frederick swallowed hard, feeling the eyes of the room on him. He knew his career was on the line, but hadn't grasped how dire the situation had become. Alex stepped forward, his voice firm. "As a former colleague and mentor to many, I can't stay silent. The complaints against Frederick Collins point to a culture of disregard and disrespect, unacceptable in a company with our reputation. I've witnessed incidents firsthand." A heavy silence followed, underscoring the weight of his words. Inspired by Monica's leadership and Alex's support, employees began to share their experiences of mistreatment. Voices once silenced by fear now spoke freely, each story adding to the board's resolve. It became clear that Frederick's behavior was a symbol of an era that had ended. In the end, after long deliberations, Monica stepped forward. Her figure commanded the center of the room, exuding calm and strength. She looked at the board and the gathered employees and declared, "True power is not in a title or authority. It lies in the ability to respect everyone, regardless of their position. Only then can we become a team worthy of trust and pride." Frederick knew his time at the company was over. He was asked to leave and, with no choice, exited the room with a face marked by confusion and anger, but also the realization that he had brought this upon himself. Monica knew her mission was just beginning. She understood the road to rebuilding trust and fostering a culture of respect and support would be long. But for the first time in years, she felt her voice had been heard, and her actions had made a lasting difference. From that point on, Hartwell Industries became a model for others, ushering in a new era of fairness and equality. It was a time when every employee knew their work was valued and their voice mattered.